Hi friends, thanks for joining in and welcome to another video. And today's topic is a very important topic, especially for young dogs and puppies. Because a lot of people, they always try to train the dog, sit down, stand, send away, heeling and all that. But a lot of people forget the most important thing for our dogs. And this is the socialization and the habituation to different scenarios, different environmental distractions, and that's what we're gonna train today. For this purpose, we have set up some different articles to distract the dog and some things like that. This is a foil which makes noises. We have a chair and we can do different things to teach the dog to not be afraid of all these kinds of things. And I know we can't build up everything that will be on the streets and when you go with the dog on your everyday life, but our purpose is we want to teach the dog to accept distractions and not be afraid of them. So we try to teach the dog to handle different distractions, and we try to teach the dog to think about, is that distraction going to harm me, or is that just a distraction that occurs during everyday life? And when we noticed the dog's afraid of something, we try to manage that and make a positive association with that specific distraction. So that's the plan for today. I'm gonna show you my new puppy, which is now around 10 weeks old, and we're gonna see how it goes. Let's go. So here I have my new Malinois puppy. He's now around 10 weeks old, and he has never seen all these things before. So this is the first test, and I'm gonna show you how I will try to teach all these distractions. So we see the dog goes, and he's very interested in all that stuff, and I just let him explore the different distractions we have around on the training field. And in between, I mark with my mouth to mark a good behavior he has shown us. So I'm just gonna walk on with the dog. And you see the dog's not showing any sign of stress. He's very interested, he's open for all the distractions, and that is exactly what we are looking in a dog. So let's try this one. You see that it's also not a problem for the dog, because all these things could touch the dog and maybe he will get afraid of that. But as you see, the pup is very focused on me. He's not distracted. He's very interested in all that stuff we have around here. So let's make it a little bit more difficult. Take this one here and make a little bit of noise. And you see now he wants to chase it. And now maybe a little bit unsureness. Try to wait a little bit. So this is also not a problem for the dog. So as you can see, when I walk through or over these distractions, the leash is not on tension. So I have the leash so that I control the space I give the dog, but I don't pull the dog towards the distractions. I let him explore these distractions by himself. And that's also very important, that you don't force your dog towards these distractions, because that can cause a lot of stress for the dog and maybe make a negative emotion about these things. So let's move on. We have some other things we will test. So this is something we also try to teach the dog to go over the wood, because as you can see, it's moving when the dog walks over. So Now that he has to understand, I'm gonna lure him a little bit so that he's following my hand. And you see the dog has absolutely no problem with that. Maybe the kibble is a little bit too big. I'm gonna do it one more time. See, it's moving. Dog has no problem with that. Perfect. Another thing we have, something that's moving. But yeah, I think that's very boring for a dog because I think the dog has very good nerves, very stable. So this is an example how it should be when you have a puppy that you selected from the breeder. Always make sure that you get a puppy from a good breeder who takes care of genetics, of good health, good nerves in the dog. So that's perfect. A big mistake a lot of people also do is they worry too much about how the dog will react. So for example, when I want to walk through these things, I don't worry too much. Oh, is my dog going to do that? Or maybe he's afraid, I hope not. So a lot of times it's also the mindset of the dog handler or the owner. Because if you worry too much, the dog will notice that and will be thinking, my handler is not very sure in what he does, so maybe this is something I have to worry about. So that means if you want to go through that thing, you just walk, you don't worry about your dog too much, and you just do it. Don't overthink too much, because otherwise your dog will notice that when you're not sure, he's also not sure in what to do, and that can cause problems later. Gonna try one more thing. Gonna try to flip over the chair. Maybe that will bring him a little bit out of control, but I don't think so. Don't want to put it on the dog. And now this is exactly what I want to see in the dog. So when the dog notices a distraction, I want the dog to look at the distraction and think about, is that distraction something that could probably hurt me? So is it necessary to have a little bit fear of that? Or is that something that happens, but it doesn't hurt me, so that will be okay? And that's a good learning process for the dog. So we don't want to make our dogs blind to the environment. What we want to have is a dog that is looking around, he's accepting the distractions, and he's not afraid of these distractions. So that's a perfect example of how I want to have such a dog. Now you see that's a little bit different for the dog because it makes a noise, a loud noise. But you see the dogs looking at the distraction and thinking about, is that going to hurt me? Is that a threat to me? And when he's looking at it and he's calm, he doesn't show any sign of fear, I reward with my marker, with my mouth, and he gets some food. So maybe that is a perfect way how you can change the dog's mind and how the dog is thinking about these distractions. I'm going to do it one more time. What I also can do is, if I have the possibility, I can show the dog the distraction and I can change the dog's mind with food over the distraction. So I'm going to show him that is not going to hurt him, and that's something that's positive now because I pair it together with food. But the most important thing is that you don't overwhelm your dog with too much and too high distractions, because otherwise it can happen probably that the dog has an aversive experience with a distraction, and that can cause big problems later when you want to go in the everyday life with your dog. For example, when the dog's very young and you go on the street and the dog by accident gets hit by a car, so that would probably be an aversive experience for the dog, and the dog can have big problems later when he sees a car. Yeah, so that's basically what I was trying to show you today, how you can start teaching your dog different environmentals. So that was also a perfect example. As you see, the things are moving, he's looking at it, he thinks, oh, that's not going to hurt me, and I reward that. Yeah, but that's basically how you can set up some small distractions in a controlled environment, and how you can teach your dog to think about distractions and not being afraid of distractions without overwhelming your dog with too much and too high distractions. So if you're interested in the progress I make with my new puppy, or if you want to watch other videos I have about how to work with your puppy, subscribe to my channel and also watch my other videos, which I will link you in the info box. And I hope to see you guys in the next video. Till then, bye bye.